Hello, social workers, mental health professionals, and change agents. Welcome to another episode of season 4 of the Social Workman's Podcast. I'm your host, Bash Moreno. Saludos a todos. Greetings to everybody that's been rocking with the podcast, wherever and however you're watching or listening to the podcast. The podcast is growing nice and steadily. You can follow the podcast on YouTube. Type in the Social Work Rants Podcast. Hit that red subscribe button. Follow the podcast on social media on IG, on Instagram at the Social Work Rants Podcast. That's all one word. You can follow the podcast on Twitter. Just hashtag social work rants. So one word. This is the handle, and type in the social work rants podcast on Facebook. Hit the like button and follow along. Tap in if you want to come on the podcast. Email me at Bass City Entertainment LLC. That's all one word at gmail.com. My guest, Asia. How are you, my friend?
Hi guys. I'm well. I can't complain. I'm doing as good as I can, especially with everything that's going on in the world today. But I'm doing as well as I can be. How about
Yes,
yourself?
I'm doing pretty well as best I can. We still in the pandemic, year two of, of the pandemic. Um, and from what I've heard from a good sources, we're gonna be in this for a little while longer. So you might as well read up on the Spanish flu in 1918, read that whole history, and
Mm,
history is doomed to repeat itself. So stay safe, wear a mask, social distance. If you gotta get a booster, by the time this episode airs, we might be on booster 2, booster 3, who knows?
mm.
With CDC changing changing like every week, something new going on with CDC. So we had a point like looking at CDC like they got like 10 heads. So it is it is what it is. But just stay safe and shout out to all the social workers that actually got to be on the front line, doing
Mhm.
home visits and during the pandemic and working in a hospital,
Yeah.
working with kids who can't be vaccinated yet, like myself, so and others working in schools. And it's just everybody. Just shout out to everybody. It's just a crazy time that we're in, and who knew we'd be growing up and living in a pandemic. So
Right,
doing
right,
social work in a pandemic.
right.
So let me get off my rant. Let everybody know who you are and what you do in our wonderful, electrifying field of social work.
Yes, yes. Okay, I am a licensed master's social worker, and I provide therapy to adolescents, their family, and also individual therapy with adults. Um, I currently live in Georgia, so everything that I'm doing is via teletherapy, which is a blessing, but it also has its challenges too, with screen fatigue, especially with adolescents.
Mm.
And I didn't start out doing therapy. I actually started out a nonprofit at Fordham University, which
Shout out to
was,
Florida. Yeah,
yeah,
y'all owe me money.
okay. Yes, the Fordham University Liberty Partnerships Program. I was there for about 5 years before I came to Georgia, almost 6 years. The Liberty Partnerships Program, and I
What
was
is that?
working. So the LPP, as they call it, it is basically a program that provides different types of services for at-risk youth. And we did a lot of like college readiness workshops, definitely mentorship programs with college students, and just exposing students to different approaches to higher education, as well as just helping them bridge the gap with, um, let's say, their school has a specific need of SAT prep and things of that nature that they may not have they may not have enough seats in the school. So we definitely provided that, and just opening up their eyes to the possibilities that college is a possibility for you. So I did that for about almost 6 years up into the pandemic. I actually just ended my relationship with Fordham LPP back in August. So
Okay.
yeah, it's been an interesting one.
So so how's that been transition from doing that with Fordham in New York to being in Georgia? How's that like for you?
The transition has been pretty well, to be quite honest with you. Coming to Georgia, I feel like has been such a pivotal experience in my life. Being that I'm able to have peace in a sense. And when I say that, it's, New York is a hustle and bustle type of environment, and it's it's pretty crowded. It's I hate to say it, like a crabs in a barrel type of environment compared to Georgia, which is so huge. And I have a lot of people say, how is it in Georgia with the pandemic? And honestly, I'm just like, well, I don't really know, to be honest, to be transparent. I'm not as affected as most people. I live in a nice turn, and I live in a very suburban area.
What part of Georgia?
Fairburn, it's like it's about 20-30 minutes outside of downtown. So it's very close to downtown. I
Downtown where?
Downtown Atlanta.
Okay.
So if I want to go, get a city like feel, I go downtown, but I really don't have to. I don't, there's everything is within a few minutes away from me in terms of grocery stores and things of that nature. So really, I don't have to go downtown unless I have to.
Atlanta's been open the whole pandemic. Like it's like no
Yeah.
such like what pandemic going.
But that's why I don't go down there. So it's just like when people say, "Oh, have y'all been affected by that?" I'm like, "Well, I really don't go downtown Atlanta that often. Every now and again I might go out, but it's really not that often. I'm such a homebody, and most of my family's within a few minutes away from me. So if I need to go
Okay.
check in on my family, that's just an easy route for me. But that's a gist of
But
what
that
life has been like for me here.
that's good that you got your family down there that you don't gotta go like to downtown at Atlanta or any surrounding neighborhood like
Yeah.
it's and just do what you need to do. If you're a homebody anyway, that's like I was a homebody for a long time, and it's like, all right, I'm ready for if another lockdown happens, like I'm good. I'm good to go. I get my food and as long as direct deposit coming in from work, like use my debit card and I'm chilling.
Yeah, it's a real smooth and easy transition. I mean, at least for me.
Right, right.
Well, for us, apparently.
So no, myself, working with the kiddos from kindergarten through like fourth grade,
Oh.
like myself, like been like struggling to really like not engage with them because especially the little ones, you like I'm a big kid at heart, and you do something like I'm gonna do it the same. I'm gonna copy you, and then see how like silly you actually look for you to stop. So when you're doing a Fortnite dance, I'm gonna do it with you or whatever. So, and that's how like I would like engage with the kiddos and like, oh, you seem cool, like like Fortnite, and like let me talk to you. But to really get the nitty gritty of like you know counseling with them or doing some type of treatment with them, like it's kind of like I've been balancing like administrators who are not social workers be like, okay, here's two like 5-year olds, like you got to be with them for like an hour and a half, and do something therapeutic with them. I'm like, you only could really like do maybe 15 minutes, like ethically or maybe a half hour. That's even pushing it. You got
Yeah,
5-year olds, and you want me to be with them for like an hour and a half? Like that, I'm gonna do with them for all that
that's a
time.
long time.
So like how like and I've heard from other social workers who doing the telehealth with the adolescents and find it difficult to try to engage them. Like I said, the burnout, the burnout is real doing all the classes and everything online, and now you got to do a therapy session after school. Like that's like I'm done with Zoom. So
Yeah.
how do you balance that? Like what are you seeing? What are your struggles, if any, that you're dealing with?
Well, honestly, some of my struggles is just um, coming up with strategies for my clients to talk about their feelings. And sometimes I'll utilize like an open ended style of asking questions, and sometimes I'll still get one worded responses. So, a lot of what I see has been helpful is playing games. So, we'll play Jeopardy, we'll play interactive Jeopardy, we'll play like interactive Uno, we'll play interactive Monopoly and things of that nature. And so while we plan these games, that's when the questions start to flow. Like, hey, so, I noticed that this and that happened, and how did you respond to that, or how did that make you feel? So it's just almost like we we're playing this game, but in the midst of playing this game, we're having a serious conversation.
Hmm.
But I'm learning that that's what my clients look forward to. Like they, especially adolescents, not all of them are very forthcoming about their feelings and emotions. So with the clients that I find it to be a little bit more challenging with, games have definitely helped. And sometimes we'll play a game of this or that. Would you prefer if someone talked to you about how you felt, or would you prefer to write it down? Things of that nature, just to kind of get me understanding what it is that they're feeling, and also an opportunity for them to express themselves without feeling like they're being pressured to express themselves.
Hmm.
But it's challenging. It can be challenging.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now, for somebody in the social work field, or somebody who's listening who's not a social worker that listens to the podcast and has never heard of like play therapy, or how does like, hey, I used to play Uno back in the day, or still do. Like how do you do that, like through telehealth, or any other game through telehealth?
Well, they have a lot of online platforms. I don't have them in front of me, but
Okay.
if you type in a search engine, let's say play Uno with friends online, there will be a couple of different types of free platforms
Mm,
that will have Uno that you can play with family or friends and things of that nature. I think the one that I was playing was called, it's not exactly Uno, but it's Uno, but it's under a different type of title. It's like Pizza Uno or Pizza Uno, something to that nature.
okay.
And we enjoy ourselves. I enjoy myself. We get to talk and kind of like compete, but still be able to have our therapeutic session.
Hmm.
But there are so many different types of online resources that are free and that are very interactive.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely look into that, especially if there's a chance we might go to back to virtual, at least for a little bit. I know right before Christmas, my school district I worked in went virtual for the last 2 days
Oh,
right before
wow.
Christmas. So so who knows? As of this recording, if I'm be still virtual, or might just go back in person or after being virtual. So who knows?
Right. You just never know. I mean, so many people are talking about that. Like, even with my work, it's like we're just doing teletherapy, you know?
Mhm. That's good that at least an aspect that you have that, and you're able to do other things, afterwards, and maybe not have like the sense of burnout than actually like being out and about, seeing people in person, and then you gotta like rush home and like
Yes.
all that comes with
Traveling, being a
traveling,
traveling.
No, I know for myself, at least the very beginning of the pandemic, like that coming home and like as soon as I close my door, I walking in my house and like stripping, like putting clothes in the washing machine and like washing like crazy and like
Mhm.
taking the little bit of Lysol that I still had because treated Lysol like it's gold and like put a little bit, sprayed a little bit on me, like go take a shower, put the Lysol underneath my shoes and like go shower and no, it was crazy and kind of like almost like we be reverting back to having to do that again. So it's
Yeah, it seems that way with this new strand or variant or whatever it is that they're calling it these days.
man with everybody that gets confused with Omicron and Omarion, like Omarion, his sales, his record sales at B2K sales better be like through the roof.
Uh-huh.
They better be like freaking platinum by by the time 2022 is up.
Oh my goodness, Lord.
But it's like we in a messed up situation, but you got to put like some light into it, and it's even people want to be silly and like some ignorant stuff going on, and like you just CDC alone is just like I'm not trying to bash CDC because it is a CDC, but like at this point, like it's just like comical in a way, like what things are going on, and it's just like we in a capitalist society, and it's just like I'm milking my days. Down for knock on wood, like some I see that positive test, like I'm milking it. Like I'm not doing like no 5 days or whatever. Like it was 10 days before. Like I'm milking the 10 days. So take my 6 days. So
Yes.
I do them on unpaid, whatever. I ain't gonna get paid, whatever. Like I'm doing my days. So like it's just I got family. Gotta take
Take
care. I
care
gotta
of.
take care of myself first. My family
Mhm.
second, and whatever. Like I'll find another social work job. It's what
Right. I
it
mean,
is.
it's one of you, okay?
Yeah.
Only one of you.
It's just bananas what people are going through and like contemplating like work and like your life and just risking your life for work and people be like, oh, like I appreciate you, like, but then you want to treat people like shit. Like you still got to come in even though you like half-ass sick and like and it's not just social work. It's just any job. I even like friends who are police officers in New York and
Mhm.
like I had COVID. They still have me like coming to work and it's like you don't offer the cops masks and stuff and they got to deal with the public. So it's been like insanity these 2 years. So
Yeah, it
craziness.
has been.
And our loans are still not forgiven after being promised. It's like
At this point, what do you have to lose? Okay, what is it that you have to lose by forgiving these loans? What is it?
it, they just don't want us black and brown folks to thrive because we will we already thriving as it is slowly, but our loans are
Slowly but
forgiven.
surely.
Like we be buying all this property up that's building. Like you're in Georgia. Georgia's been on fire with the housing market. So
I mean, on fire. And I did not realize until because I purchased my home in 2021, just recently. Yeah. No,
congratulations,
2020.
yeah.
Yeah, 2020. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I didn't realize that people are definitely not able to accomplish this because of student loans.
Mm,
That whole debt to ratio is such as the seriousness of that when you have a student loan, it's almost like I went to school so that I can better myself. And you mean to tell me that I can't purchase a home because of a student loan that I use so that I can better myself? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
yeah, I totally agree. Now, now, if you got like a good like underwriter and then, people that's actually going to give you the money, that there's ways to get around and you're only taking a percentage. Like, I think it was like 1%. I think they changed that to actually
Yeah.
better for student loans. So if any social workers looking purchased a home in 2022, like that law actually changed to better, even with a loan, you can still like get a good rate. But interest rates are going up. That's why the student loan, the pushback to May makes even no sense even more because the interest rates are going to go up in the summer. So like we're going to be we might be May and June, we're going to be chilling. And then like the interest rate going to go up and then we is a hot mess.
And
That's
they had some up their sleeves, it seems like.
well, they better have something because I know myself. I'm gonna keep applying that pressure to forgive something, if not, the whole thing, and applying the pressure to the president, to the vice president, members of Congress, and the National Association of Social Work, the national chapter. I want to take credit for pushing, advocating. Like we need you, like in front of the TV, in front of we need video proof of your advocacy.
Yeah, we need documents. We need more than
Yes.
video. We need some documentation as well.
At least
Y'all
a
talking about
video. Y'all can
documentation.
document all you want, but at least a bare minimum of a video, like advocating, like that you like sitting down on the table with lobbyists or whoever that in the government with the Secretary of Education that you talking about, you know, forgiving these loans somehow is just something. People like are really struggling. Like I would love to, you know, put more money into like crypto, stock market, pay off, pay more the mortgage off, put more
Uh-huh.
money down towards the mortgage, like
Yes, investments. Oh God.
investments, kids,
Mhm.
college fund, or their like their accounts, and just build a business, start a business. Like there's so much money that we could be putting our money into instead of paying these loans that could easily be forgiven. And you just gave a whole bunch of money to the Pentagon. That's like, we we at a point with wars that it's not going to be fought with tanks and airplanes. It's going to be like AI, cybersecurity stuff. Like
Mhm.
we already experienced that with the 2016 election. So it's going to be based on AI and cyber attacks, not like tanks and other stuff. So it's no, it's ridiculous what this country's doing.
Yeah, it's definitely out of control.
So going back to the kiddos, like what do I had this conversation recently with another social worker, and it's like, I see kids, social skills being, kind of like lost in the sauce, and almost starting back from like the basics, like when toddlers, and it's like, say hi, how are you, or simple as like good morning or please and thank you, things of that nature, and like the kids and adults. Like,
Yeah.
not, I'm not just like focused on the kids, so, but adults too, like losing like their social skills. Because of the pandemic, we like in the house, for a
Mhm.
good chunk of 2020, people some people still like are scared, rightfully so. They're not want to go out. Still, there's still virtual, kids in virtual, school districts having that option for kids to be virtual. As we started, the school year, the 2021-2022 school year. So,
Yeah.
the social skills are missing. Like what are you seeing that that's going on with the kids are that needs to help them and to better themselves.
What I've been seeing is definitely, I guess I would say that there's more of distractions than anything in terms of, technology and all these different things that are just, how can I put this? Because most of my clients are actually in the schools, but I can definitely see a difference with them being able to express themselves, or they do know the basics of hey, how you doing and stuff like that, but being able to articulate how they feel, I do see that there's a bit of a struggle there.
Mm,
And it could be that they may just not feel comfortable expressing um, their emotions or their feelings, but I find that that's pretty common across the board with my clients.
mm,
It's just being able to say, hey, such and somebody did this and really made me upset, and I don't like it. I find that to be a struggle, and of course, that's what I'm here for, to help them through that,
right.
and helping them to cultivate certain skills that they have to be able to articulate themselves and their feelings. But that's definitely where I feel like is a need with adolescents, is learning how to express themselves in healthy ways. Um, because sometimes it can be, I feel like adolescent behavior can be overlooked as defiancy and all these different things, but of course there is a root cause for some of these behaviors. I mean, some of it is just, we can chalk it up to adolescent hormones and all those
Almost
different
right.
things, but a bit of it also is just not being able to articulate their themselves, or not feeling like they have a safe space to articulate themselves.
Mm.
So that's one thing that I'm learning to reiterate and just to establish in my sessions with my adolescent clients.
And also like there's as of this recording, it was like up to almost like 180,000 kids who lost a caregiver or a grandparent, family member due to the pandemic.
Right.
My kids are part of that number, losing
Mhm.
their grandparents. So it's
I'm sorry.
we got a lot of grief, a lot of loss
Wow.
going on, and like working with a kid right now who's like lost like two family members within the last couple years. So it's like dealing with that, and kind of like the behaviors is like, all right, this is like other behavior going on, but I know that's like the root cause of it. There's other behaviors going on with other kids, and it's starting so young. It's like 5, 6 years old, 7 years old. The kindergartners in the first grade. And I've talked about it in other podcast episodes. Like these, kindergartners coming in, they're running amok, and it's like,
Mm.
but what the heck is going on with these kindergartners that like only like now I'm so used to having like that home life piece of like me doing home visits and stuff like that, and just
Mm.
being working in the school, and like I'm missing that piece and trying to put that together, and I can't because there's no real home visits like involved unless it's like an real emergency situation. But it's like there has to be something going on at home, something going on somewhere in the community that kids are coming in and just like flipping tables and
Mm.
chairs, and
Right.
y'all like first graders doing this,
Yeah.
and it's like for the most part, like I would say like 98% of those kids are black and brown kids, and it's like, what's going on in your home? What's going on in the community that like y'all are frustrated and want to be flipping tables because y'all want to, and it's like almost like a sense of entitlement going on to doing this stuff, and it's like almost like mind boggling, and I'm having these discussions with other social workers and like even like non-social workers, and I blow people's minds when I mention how young these kids are. So
Mm. Well,
uh,
I also think some of it has to do with, I feel like we live in a band-aid society that
oh
just,
yeah, absolutely.
we put a band-aid over things, and most of the time we don't even have the opportunity to really process what it is that we're going through, what it is that we're experiencing. Sometimes we don't even have an opportunity to put a name on it, and just to touch a little bit on what you said about a lot uh, of these children are still adjusting to losing a caregiver, losing grandparents, and things of that nature. They probably haven't even been educated on what it means to grieve or how it is to grieve. And we live in a society that is just like, okay, here you have 2, 3, 4 days of bereavement, and then you got to come back to work. So the parent can't even process the fact that, hey, I lost a spouse or lost a parent. So much less being able to explain that to your child. And that's just like, it's almost like a trickle effect. And when the child is imitating the behavior of the parent or not receiving the type of support that they're experiencing internally because the parent hasn't even been able to process that experience, it can be very chaotic. And that may be why we are seeing some children act out, because the parent may not have time. I had to go to work. I can't even grieve myself, and much less, deal with your feelings, because I just don't have time. And it's very
Mhm.
unfortunate because this is grieving is not an overnight process.
No, it's not.
It's not an overnight process. There's not an end to it. It's just, it's something that it's emotions that have to be learned, that we have to learn how to manage, or utilize coping skills. But when you're unable to process that yourself and then try to understand your own child's emotions, it can be very difficult. So I can see, just based upon, and I can't say that I have, I've been blessed and not have been affected by it in a so closely, but I have no friends around me who have been affected by it and are still dealing with the grieving process of it. And their children, their family members. So I believe if we lived in a society that really took some time to really teach and educate us on how we can grieve, and not, let this is how much it's going to cost for you to get a therapist in order for them to help you with your grieving process. It sucks,
Hmm.
because how is that helping the family dynamic?
Yeah, exactly. And and you bring up a great point that just like society in general just really needs to do a better job. Like there's never, like you said, there's never, if you lose someone close to you, doesn't matter who in the family it is.
Right.
Like there's never enough like PTO days to to take to grieve that's like with you like forever,
Yeah.
and it's like, but to only have me like 3 4 days, not even like a full week, like to like take bereavement time. There has to be that a law change that
Yes.
at least 7 to 10 days. Like there's, especially in social work, like 10 days is depending what you do in in social work. 10 days is really not going to kill like the nonprofit or like or in school social work or anything like that. Like maybe now it might be stretched in because of just how things are right now, but 10 days is not gonna kill anybody. Like to like here, you do your 10 days isn't enough, no, but it's better than like 3 or 4. And then like now you gotta like contemplate like no somebody passing away, and then they're like, okay,
Right.
the weekend's coming up. There, I could think I might push through these 1 2 days, just like physically be where I need to be, but mentally I'm not there, and just okay, I could process it on the weekend and like whatever. So like I know I had to do that after like my ex-wife passed away. So it was what, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think I worked Thursday, Friday, and then took the weekend. Was and then like 3 days after, then went back to work, and then
Wow.
and then like when my mom passed in 2020, like I took off work that Monday, and then I had to use like some like my own PTO
Oh my
for
goodness.
like 2 days, and then I used like the bereavement they gave me, so that was like the 5 days. I think I only had like 3 or 4 like PTO days for my own mom. So it's
Wow.
like the
I'm so
job,
sorry that you went through that.
the nonprofit grieving protocols definitely need to change in the social work, just in general, just the whole government, the way the U.S. the policies definitely need to change with that. So it's crazy.
It
they
really
like
is.
then like a year later, like need progress notes, so you need to like work with families, work with kids, and like you lucky I'm even here.
Right. And I also think about the fact that social workers, much like anybody within the health service field, like we're in a sense healers. That's
Mm.
how I like to see myself in certain ways. Like we're healers. We're offering a service where people are exchanging their personal feelings, experience, and all these different things as a way to be able to let go and remove some repressed emotions or different types of experiences that they may be facing. And that can be draining. That can
Mhm.
definitely be draining. And if you're dealing with a client who's experiencing a grief, that there is counter transference for the,
Yes,
the
exactly.
social worker. So the social worker is going to sit there thinking about what they may be, their current experience, um, at that specific time. And I don't think that that is taken into account. And I feel like that's why we have to advocate so much more for more incentives for social workers and just healthcare professionals in general. And just, I personally believe a pay increase, because this it's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of mental, just a lot of mental things that we are experiencing in our work, in our fields.
No, absolutely. And the job market for and the pay is like really this is what you offering and for all this work and it's like it's insane like the disrespect social workers even from the MSW front, the LMSWs, like yourself and myself, and it's like you got to get an LC just to really make like some like halfway decent money, and just and the jobs so far is like LC is preferred. It was like, but why is the profession going like that? Like towards like you gotta get a LC for like a social work job, like it's like doesn't really make sense. And,
No.
and a lot of these some of these jobs, especially like case management jobs, want you to have like an LM, and it's like really for an LM, and then you want to pay like such and such salary, and it's like
It's not
for all
even
this
that.
work, it's mind boggling. It's crazy.
It's definitely mind boggling, and it's definitely it's when I received my when I passed the licensure exam, I was very excited about that. I was like, okay, now I'm gonna start applying to jobs, and I'm gonna get more callbacks and all these different things. And then you look at these job profiles, and now they're asking for a LCSW or the LMF. I think it's a licensed marriage and family therapist.
Mm.
And it's discouraging because you spend all your time in graduate school, and then you take this time to study for this exam that is definitely, if you're not a test taker, it can be very exhausting and draining and cause you a lot of anxiety. And then you just have this expectation that, okay, I'm licensed now, so the job prospects should really be good for me, but only to then be told that, oh, well, you should really go for your LCSW because you'll make more money. And I have been told that.
Mm.
When I received my LMSW, I was in no frame of mind of thinking of getting my LCSW, to be quite honest. But when I was told that in supervision for my current, um, in my current position, that was definitely a slap in the face to me, because that means you're telling me that I have now to be supervised for almost 3 years to get all these. I think it's about 3,000 semester hour, 3,000 hours or something to that nature,
Yeah,
and then to take a
it
test.
depends on the state. Yeah.
Right, I think in Georgia it's 3,000, 2,000 or 3,000, but that's 2 to 3 years
Mm.
after I just took this test again you're paying for, and
Mm.
it expires within a year. So it's just like, what's going on here? What are we telling people? That because in what I feel like you're telling me is that my hard work is just not enough.
No,
And
I totally agree. Like I'm in the same boat too. It's like I was actually, Delaware. They had a grandfathering program to get your LMSW. You just had to apply for it and then pay a fee for it. And so I did all that. That's how I got my LM. And then like I was in unfortunately had to like find a new job, and then like going for this, and I went on job interviews. They're like, oh, I see you got your LLM when you getting your LC. I'm like, I just got my LM like literally like a month ago. Like how do you expect me to get a LC? And like yourself, I was never initially like when okay, I'm gonna get my LM and then I'll do the 3 years, whatever, living in New York and do the paperwork, get the LC, and then like as time changed, I was like, oh, I don't was able to get jobs that I didn't even need the M, let alone the LC. So, and then getting my increases in pay just for changing jobs, and then all of a sudden, like I moved to a new state and got the LM, and then, like the LM is like almost like in a way worthless unless you like work in the schools, and it's like crazy. And then like it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like get an LC, and then I see like people online and people I talk to is like, yeah, you need to go get your LC. It was like, but I could like do something else and like kill it and pay as long as my bills are paid, and but it doesn't have to be like that. Like so anybody like a lot of my listeners like are like in their 20s, like fresh out of grad school or in grad school currently, and it's like hearing this podcast is like really like this is where the profession is going to. Like I gotta like bust my ass to pay a test, get the LM, or let's maybe move to a new state like Illinois that they're getting rid of the LM and you just take the test and you become a LC, which I think is great that they're doing that. Um, and do and like move like my whole life to a whole new state just so that I don't, for all the paperwork, it's just doesn't make any sense.
It really doesn't. And it's also discouraging, It's definitely um it is very discouraging because
Yeah,
they do pretty much the same thing.
yeah, get it's just for a quicker letter to to pay more money and just doing a lot of the same work, or you could
Hmm.
do therapy work and just get a LC signing off. You doing the supervision anyway, so what's the difference? So it's and I see social workers with an MSW, no license, and still kill it, and make money. So there's ways to go about making money, but it's not like direct practice exactly working with kids. It's like indirectly working direct practice, but not in the trenches, and that's where like people are most needed is like in the trenches, like out and about, and but the willingness of not paying workers, why do the job, especially in a pandemic now, where a lot of stuff could be done virtually or
Right.
remotely. Like what's not busting my behind for like such and such money where like I know my worth and stuff. Like
Exactly.
it doesn't make sense.
And we worked hard for our degree. We worked hard to get our license. And it means something. It's very significant. And I just like the fact that I just learned the terminology that a LMSW is an associate license, and I'm just kind of like, what? Not an associate license. It definitely
Who
didn't
who
cost
throws
an associate's level.
who throws out these terms like that? Where does these terms
Yeah.
come from? And it's like and that people use them and accepts them like without questioning it. Is like I never heard that. Like nobody better talk to me like that. They going man or woman, they getting cursed out. On this podcast, like nobody ever talks to me about no LM as an associate license because y'all gonna get cut from like my life. Period. Doesn't matter who you are, or what you do. Like, nah, that's bullshit. Like we bust behinds. Like I lost a lot of time. Like that I could have been spending with my son. Like when he was little and going to school, doing an internship, on a
Mm.
Saturday. Like I was living in Jersey, going all the way to Kew Gardens,
Wow.
Queens on a Saturday morning. And it's not fun. Like if you from New York, you know, like just going to Queens on a Saturday, dealing with that E and F train on the
Mm-mm.
weekends is not fun. And coming from Jersey, and the transportation to Jersey is trash on the weekend. so, so I'll like
That's
no,
a
we've
sacrifice. That's a
I
huge
sacrificed a lot.
sacrifice.
Like I sacrificed, like I was married at the time. I sacrificed a lot. Like so, like almost got divorced in grad school. I ended up getting divorced after the fact, but while in grad school, like
Wow.
pushing it. So don't play, do not play with me.
Talk about this is associate level degree. How dare you? I definitely understand. I was going to school,
And the
working
ASW
a
got
full-time
a
job.
thousand dollars out of my money because I'm a terrible test taker. So that's you. Nah, don't play with me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's all about the money, more money. That like to get
Going
an
back to the
LCSW.
capitalism
Mhm.
of how our society is, and with everything going on, so it just doesn't make sense. So what? So let's get back to the positive because it's always about a strength perspective, and I'm a huge advocate of strength perspective. What
Same
do you
here.
do in terms of self care where you're not out about doing social work things?
I do. I definitely spend time with my family and friends when I can. Um, I am definitely a girly girl, so I'll definitely take myself on. I'll have me a nice spa day. I love to cook, so just even making me a nice meal and watching something good on TV will definitely just take my mind off of work and just documentation, and just gives me an opportunity to just unwind. So that's a lot. I love to read and I love to write. I definitely have my own I also have my own podcast and blog. So
Oh
that is
snap!
it's Peace and Preparation blog and Peace and Preparation podcast. So that gives me the opportunity to just talk about things outside of being a social worker, and that as long as I'm up encouraging others and just uplifting others, that really provides me with the self-care I need.
Awesome. What do you talk about on the blog and the podcast?
I talk a lot about just being yourself, just stepping into your purpose, regardless of what other people may think and feel. I'm definitely a servant of God, so I'm always talking about God and how much He has been so prolific in my life and changing and supporting me. And I just really want to encourage people to step into your power, step into your purpose, do the things that you were created to do, and do it with, put your all into it, and don't allow anybody to stop you from doing those things. So you'll definitely see me with a lot of poetry, um, a lot of chats about just being who you are and just enjoying your life. Live your life.
Yeah, amen to that. Um, Give me some of your highlights of 2021.
Highlights of I have a lot. 2021. 2021 I um moved into my house. I I got my driver's license. So
That's
as a
not.
New Yorker, I'm from Brooklyn, so as New Yorkers, we
We don't
do a lot of
we don't have no license
we don't have license.
unless you live in parts of Queens that you have to drive.
We
Those parts of Queens that you need a car to get around.
Yeah, I got my license. Wow, there's a couple other things that I did. I did get a divorce, which was definitely the best for me, the best for both of us.
Can we talk about like actually like normalizing that divorces could actually be good for you, and like if you're in a bad situation and again a divorce and like that cleanse that you go through, like I'm
Yes.
and is like kind of like start loving yourself again. Like you have to like kind of like lose yourself like
Yeah.
in the marriage, and then like I know definitely lost myself, and then like gaining like myself back and loving myself and gaining that self-esteem, and start losing weight, and like if I'm gonna be snatched up by the next one, then like shit, I need to lose some weight, hit the gym, and like eat better, and like do what you need to do. So yeah, man, it needs to be talked about more. Like, yes, it could be sad and like going divorce and what could have been, what could have
Mhm.
did like better. There's that too, but sometimes it's a celebration. Like, yeah, man, when I signed those papers, that divorce was finalized. Like, if I could have did a cartwheel because it was like it was a happy day.
I mean, it is. And, I no longer look at divorce as it definitely depends on the individuals, first and foremost. Let
Hmm.
me put it that
Yes,
way.
absolutely. Yes.
It definitely depends on the individuals involved in the marriage. And for myself and the person involved in the marriage, I just felt like we were two broken people trying to come together and make something out of what we didn't even know was nothing. And I don't, what I mean when I say that is, if you're not healed, if you're not in a place of where you understand who you are, you understand what you need, you understand your purpose in life, it's going to be very difficult for you to have a relationship with someone.
Hmm.
And I felt like me and that other person were struggling in those areas. And that's probably what attracted us to each other. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a good thing.
Hmm.
And I believe that when you're mature in many aspects of your life, in terms of your spirituality, your emotions, knowing who you are, knowing what your purpose is, living your purpose, marriage 9 times out of 10 will be more prosperous.
Hmm.
And I'm glad that I'm glad that I was able to see that early on opposed to later on. So it was definitely a
Hmm.
blessing for me. And I don't have any ill feelings for that person. I definitely pray for that person, often, and just hope that that person is gaining their healing, because I'm definitely gaining my healing.
Hmm.
Healing is, I feel like healing has its ups and downs. There's not always days where it's like, oh gosh, I really enjoy being single. But there are those days where it's like, wow, this is a little bit lonely. But overall, what I have gained is peace. And that is
Hmm.
most important to me. Just having that sense of
Like,
peace
mm,
and having that sense of my life is not revolving around me trying to please somebody else. And I'm learning that you don't, in a marriage, your life is not revolved around pleasing somebody else. And it's definitely taught me a lot of lessons that I'm grateful for. And I'm grateful that I'm able to reflect and say, okay, well, I see why that didn't go right and where this could have been better. And that's just what it has been for me. So
or what you could do
growth
better
is
for the
not
next
always.
relationship.
Repeat that. I'm sorry.
I said, and you can learn what you can do for the next relationship, or like, or this is what I'm not going to tolerate in the next
Yes,
relationship. So it's like,
a lot of no's. That's definitely a no. That's definitely not gonna happen. And like, it's definitely what you definitely learn what you're not gonna do and what you can tolerate.
and it also goes back to like, yes, we are social workers. You mentioned healers, but we human first and foremost, and we grieving losses of death, we grieving losses of relationships ending, going through divorces, and then like you got a supervisor, you might have that annoying supervisor, like, where's my progress notes at? Like really?
But if I know if it was for you, you would want somebody to cut you some slack.
Exactly. But
Like,
like,
I'm going through something, right? I got a little. I'm gonna take some personal time. Oh, okay, it's okay for you.
yeah,
But the
exactly.
shoes on the other foot, that we're not gonna provide it or afforded the same type of understanding.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just the craziness that we in our profession, and like the good old US of A with the capitalism. So but definitely like good luck with your healing, your continued healing as you grow as a person, and
Thank you.
with your podcast, your blog, and your work, and, in Georgia. I don't know Georgia's been, man. There's never been so many people cheering for the state of Georgia. Like this past elections, like I haven't cheered for anything related to Georgia since like the 1995 Atlanta Braves winning the World Series. Like it was just like Stacey Abrams, yay! Like, and now she running for governor too. Whenever that election is, so it's no we still gonna be rooting hard for Georgia because that governor is a hot mess and fighting with the former Atlanta governor. Is she still the mayor or did somebody took over?
I'm sorry. I gotta be honest with you. I still
You don't
haven't
know.
transitioned from New York City politics. I'm
Oh,
still
I still got ABC 7 in New York, like always on IG, like seeing what's happening in New York. So I totally feel you, but like man, IG's put in New York on. I know New York was like going crazy with like the crime and stuff, but IG been making New York look super bad. I'm like, see, this is why I moved out. This is why I moved out. This is why I moved out. This is why I moved out.
Mhm.
De
Mhm.
Blasio has this. No, when this recording airs, he'll be out of office, and I'll be celebrated for all New Yorkers. He did a trash job. Cuomo did a trash job. Like New York is
Yeah,
something else. Like
it is. It's a lot
I've been
going
telling
on.
all my friends, I'm at the like Suge Knight. You want to come leave New York? Like come to Delaware. Like it's wide open. Let's go. Like live on the farmland. Let's go.
I mean, there's so many other places. There are
Yep.
so many other places.
No, it is. It's like not affordable. I mean, Atlanta's been like you need at least 600,000 to live somewhere halfway decent in Atlanta. It's crazy down there.
No, not really. I mean, there's a lot of areas in Atlanta that are actually really good.
That
I guess it's just all about what you're looking for.
yeah, is that there's some things that's opening up. You could get something on the in the low twos.
Yeah. Yes.
That's nice. It's like up and coming like pretty like a real like up and coming neighborhood.
Right. Yeah.
It's not like the neighborhoods that Ludacris was talking about in 2003, 2004. Like no, not not those areas. Like Buckethead, like even though Buckethead's supposed to be nice and like there's some bad stuff happening. And
I definitely haven't touched those neighborhoods yet.
but like no, enjoy your house too, because a house is a blessing that count my blessings
Yes.
like every day with myself as a first time homeowner in 2021, and it's like
Kudos and
no,
congratulations to you as
thank
well.
thank you. So it's it's a lot of work, especially like I don't think my contract, like the ink on the contract, even dried yet, and I had to like run and shovel snow. Like February 2021 is like I got like better shovel that snow before like we get sued and we haven't even like moved in yet.
Especially if Delaware. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So this weather in Delaware is like I'm about to like put a DSM-5 diagnosis on this weather here because this weather is like as this recording we went like 60-degree weather like 2 3 days ago, and then like yesterday was freaking like raining, snowing, sleet all like in the same day, and like I like put like ice pedals outside my property. It was like it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, well, one thing about Georgia, when it snows, they shut everything down. So,
Oh yeah, they can't handle no 2 inches. 2 inches
mm-mm.
is like a major event down there.
No, and the traffic down here is ridiculous.
Oh
I have
yeah, I heard
never
about that
been
traffic.
to a place that has so, unfortunately, so many car accidents. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, Delaware too. Delaware it was crazy with the car accidents, like
No.
tailgating like crazy.
Mm.
Oh, one tidbit since you're in Georgia now, the millennial. Did he go to the millennial conference or millennial social work conference is happening in March? So definitely be on the lookout for that. So
Okay, I definitely will. I'll take a look into that. Thank
yeah,
you.
so as of this recording, it's still going to be in person. So who knows Omarion, Omari Carlin, what any other variant coming through, like who knows?
Oh gosh. Amari.
so
Amario.
so uh, what's next for in 2022 for you? As my eyes are like tearing up from laughter.
I definitely wanna see some more transformation in terms of my blog, my podcast, and my just work, just working on my business and working on a book. I'm definitely working on a book, a poem book,
Well,
and getting that
we got a
published.
lot in common. My book, my poetry book coming out in 2022.
So look at that. Okay. Yeah. So we doing these things. We making it happen. 2022. God
Yes,
willing, it's gonna be an awesome,
yes, God
awesome
willing.
year. Yes. Yeah.
God first, everything else fall into place.
Right. Exactly.
Shout out to my beautiful fiance who I'm gonna marry and hook up by crook in 2022. Got me into church, going like every
Good.
almost every week, like literally.
Oh, yes. Shout out to her. Shout out to your
Before
fiance.
she came, I was like sporadic, maybe once every other year.
See, they said in the scriptures, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So,
Mhm.
hmm got you in church. There you go.
Absolutely. But thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram, Peace and Preparation. I think that's it. Peace and Preparation. Yeah, Peace and Preparation. That's my IG name. Peace and Preparation. I try
Cool.
to embody that as much as I can. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. We'll be talking soon.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And, best of luck to you. Blessings to you and your family.
Thank you.